What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Starving Artist Development Podcast. I am your host, Gabrielle Carruthers, where we talk to cultural artists that have contributed to Detroit's cultural art scenes. We talk about the highs, the lows, and artist development. Today, I have a very special guest, somebody whom I have known for a very, very long time, who has definitely put Detroit on the map, not only as a lyricist, but as an educator, as a father, as a community advocate, as pretty much an all around stand up guy. I want to welcome my friend Antoine. Welcome to the show.
What up, dog? What up, dog? What up, G? How you doing? How you feeling?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I am awesome on this Black Friday that now is our Friday now to be able to
Yes.
buy some new stuff. So I don't get into the consumer part, so I try to stay off the consumer part. Man, I'm a seller now, so I'm selling stuff on Black Friday. I'm trying to get some money too.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And so on and so forth.
So again, thank you for the introduction. My name is A. Dot or Antoine Crowder is what my government is. What I've been doing for the last 20 years is music as A. Dot, official A. Dot Groundface is my entertainment company. But what I've been doing for the last 10 years is doing restorative work. I'm a restorative practitioner, working in the schools, working in a nonprofit organization. I'm a career manager now also as well, working in the nonprofit sector, but I'm still doing music, producing music. I got my daughters writing songs now. My sons is writing songs now. So just kind of letting them go through their training up. I also did a few projects, got some new projects that I've been working on. I finally got my itch back a little bit. But yeah, so I do music. I've been doing restorative parenting, so showing our culture how to use the 4R method to be able to have positive relationships with our kids and then with our community. I've been doing it for corporations as well and also schools. So that's been my work, just working in the community, of course, doing music as well, using music as the forefront to be able to navigate through these circles for sure.
Wow, thank you so much. Well, first things first, thank you for your contribution, not only to the city of Detroit, Southeast Michigan, but also to the world. Again, when we met, we met, I was 18 and we met when you were working at the YMCA. I think you were a camp counselor. And I had just signed up for a membership after graduating from the Detroit School of the Arts, getting ready to start my freshman year at Wayne State University, not as a dance major, but as a journalism major initially.
Wow.
And that's a whole nother story too. But originally, yes, I started out as a journalism major, and then I, dropped out, went back and re-auditioned for the dance department, and
Mm,
essentially obtained my bachelor's of science in dance with a minor in communication studies. So that's where that multimedia passion and arts and culture and dance education and just arts education, all of that kind of intertwined. But when I met you, again, you were working at the center, you were working with the kids, and that was our first initial interaction. And your energy was always, it was always vibrant, you were always smiling, and you always had good vibes. And what, I'm 36 now. And we have known each other for so many years, and I have watched you, not even want to say blossom, but just become this amazing or even more amazing person. It's almost like you were already amazing, but then it just electrified even more. And I didn't even know that you were a lyricist for the long time, like for the longest. And I went to one of your shows, didn't even know you were performing. I think it was at the Baltimore Gallery. They were
ah,
holding an event, and I think
yeah,
it was like an open mic night for Sound Off Sundays.
yeah,
R.I.P. to Brass. Oh,
yeah.
makes me sad.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. And he puts on these events every Sunday, him and Bug. And I went and found out, I was like, oh wait, I was like, you perform too? I never knew that. And the first time I heard you perform, and I was like, what in the world? I didn't know that he had all of this fire in him.
Yeah.
So the work that you are doing in the community, like I said, not only as a lyricist, but the fact that I have always known you to give back to the city and to make sure that you are putting on for Detroit in a positive way. And not only, like I said, as a lyricist, but as a cultural artist, but also as a pillar in the community. Can you dive more into your work as it pertains to, you know, working with the youth as well as community rehabilitation?
Yeah. So I mean, of course, the music is, where it always started for me from. Where nothing else couldn't reach me, it was the music, right? And so I'm from the East Side Buffalo Project, a young man that was trying to figure it out. Single mother home, lived with my dad for some time as well. So I come from that broken, that family dynamic. My family on my mother's side, they were musicians. And, my dad, he was the youngest out of his family. A lot of his peers were older. His brothers and sisters are older. So he was like the youngest, and, he was going through what he was going through, but he was figuring it out, just, being out the street and becoming a working man, blue collar man, and things of that nature, taking care of his kids. So, and just trying to figure out what that looks like in that time frame. Um, yeah, so it was just me seeing me out in the street, you know what I'm saying? Just me seeing me. And one of the things that I always wanted was support and people, when I would watch on TV and watch all these people like get to the bag and I like stories. I like people real stories. I like, yo, how did you get here? What was the story? Like who helped you? Like what was your path? And for me, the more and more I start meeting some of these guys and some of these people, I start realizing how regular they were. Like, man, you a regular person, you know what I'm saying? And I think what one of the biggest things I like about what social media is doing is letting people know how regular people are. Um, and so, I just think my whole purpose in life was just to be able to, as a man, as a person, to get back. You know what I'm saying? Like that's easy. That's the easy thing. Like because I always wish people did it for me on a larger state, but literally people did it for me. You know what I'm saying? My mom didn't have the know-all. My dad didn't have the know-all. So I was really like passed around in the community, as a project. You know what I'm saying? People seen potential in me. People seen that I was able to, I had talent, had skill, but also, had a good heart. Even though I come from what my past is, even though I made a lot of crazy mistakes trying to figure it out. But I always felt like the community of Detroit, looked out for me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Vanguard, shout out to the Spot, shout out to the Union, shout out to Jason Williams, shout out to Lottie, shout out to James Gibson, shout out to Scott, shout out to like I can name so many people that put that. Shout out to the YMCA, shout out to you know what I'm
Yes.
saying. Can name so many people that at so many organizations. Shout out to my neighborhood churches. You know what I'm saying? Bishop, the late great Pastor Smith, you know what I'm saying? Church of God of Baldwin. Like I can name so many different communities that I was a part of that seen something in me and they did something for me. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so I just feel like that's my calling. That's what I'm supposed to do. No matter how and what, place I'm supposed to be in or however I'm in it, whether it's music, wherever I'm in, whether I'm just uncle, whether I'm just coaching football, right? Whatever I'm doing, I feel like it's my service to be able to give something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to withhold nothing. I got to give it all. And so I just credit that to the beautiful community that Detroit has put around me and allow me to use them as a stepping stone to be who I am. So that's why I got to get back to the city for sure.
I am so grateful for you sharing that message simply because I remember growing up, especially in the 90s and the early 2000s, there was a heavy sense of community here in Detroit. No matter what after school program or organization you were involved in, whether it was basketball, dance, martial arts, football, we always would come together and make sure that the kids were priority. I even
Mm-hmm.
remember going and attending an elementary school where the parents were so heavily involved in our it was like a pancake breakfast. We used to do like these Motown reviews every year
Mm-hmm.
at my old elementary school, Chrysler Elementary, which is actually it closed finally this year after
Wow.
so many years being
Wow.
ran
Wow.
by
Wow.
yeah, and it was an amazing school, and even the curriculum. I remember the parents being so heavily involved and making sure that even if you were not their child,
Yep.
you felt like you were an additional family member, and
Yep.
that community and communion was very important,
Yeah.
especially growing up as a child in the 90s in the city of Detroit, when I feel like the cultural arts scene was respected and protected, right?
Yeah.
Now, those are the highs, right, of being a kid from Detroit. Even if you're a child that comes from, like, an underserved or disadvantaged areas, there were still opportunities that were provided, and there was still mentorship and guidance provided from different organizations. And again, you felt a sense of protection, unity, and communion. I want to discuss the lows. So here we are. It is now 2025, and we're kind of re-entering this. I don't want to say it's like this new beginning, but it almost feels like a new beginning, right?
Mhm.
Do you feel like the cultural arts is protected like it used to be protected in the 90s? Or do you feel like the cultural arts is only respected when investors are benefiting off of our talent?
Well, I think that's a twofold question, which has multiple perspectives of answers. But speaking from what you're saying, as far as like the cultural arts being protected, I think the reason why Detroit protected it back then so much was because we've seen it be prostituted, right? With Motown and them leaving, and then people leaving and putting money in certain people's pockets, and then the people that get the money they dip too. Um, and so I think the protection kind of came from like, yo, uh, you don't have to leave to do this, right? And I think people being able to get paid, like my grandmother and like I said, my family, it was the Scott Singers. They wasn't as big as the Clark sisters, but during that time, quartet singer was it. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody had a group, and you travel from church to church, and they was paying the churches was paying gigs. You know what I'm saying? So like they would, they gig what 6-7 days a week sometimes. It was a revival somewhere. You know what I mean? Where they called the Sky Singers. But I think Detroit will always figure it out because we are a blue collar and hustle city. We gonna always figure out a way to take care of our own. And during that time, we didn't have a major look, and we didn't have major money and funding because that's back end stuff, the illages and things of that nature, right? It's a whole lot of different conversations that this platform really don't got room for. But it wasn't a lot of that type of time. So, as we do as hustlers, we took care of each other. You know what I'm saying? I think now, because there is money and because people have been doing this a long time, getting what they can out of it, I think that, you get a perspective to think that it can be a little bit prosecuted or prostituted in a way. But I think, to me, I just think it's if you look at it from another lens, I look at it from a lens of, okay, this is the time where people are saying that we great. Everybody can't get the same investors, but what you can do is say you can use the people that are being invested in, and you can use that and say, hey, I'm from the same cloth as them, right? Like if you got Shifi that's going crazy with the portraits and the portals, and you like, yo, shout out to my brother Sheepy, shout out to Phil. Yo, I'm from there. I do the same, do my people, do my same work. And so now when people are looking for, other investors are looking for different people to do, because they might can't get in touch with Sheepy, they can get in touch with you. You're
Mhm.
able to kind of connect yourself with the same leverage and use that same leverage to get the same, close to amount of the same respect and the same amount of value, which
Yeah.
means your money changes, right? And so I think Detroit is in a perfect time for local artists to get down. I think the internet has given us way more outreach to be able to get to the to be valued, but also get to the dollar that we deserve. I think we got one of the biggest spotlights right now. And so I think is at a time where Detroit don't have to take care of each other no more, because we've been taking care of each other so much. Now we able to use use each other name. Yo, and let me make a call. Hey, I've done beats with Nick Speed, or I rap with Miss Corona, or I know the T Grizzlies and the Days Lows of the world. We was in the same arena. They know who I am, right? And you can use that to be able to give yourself a little bit more value, and to be able to reach different investors that'll give a different type of money value. So I think it's all the same. I just think it's just how you look at it. I mean, you can look at it in a way like, oh man, nobody rocking with us or rocking with me. Now everybody getting their little dollars. I think when people get money, that's the thing, right? It's like, if they shining on Detroit now, you got a chance to say, yo, I'm really from Detroit. And
Right.
then all those things that you had in the background, if you got records with such and such, this the time to be putting them out, right?
Right.
If you done projects with such and such, this the time to be bringing it to the front. If you was able to connect with Sheefy and them back in the day, these the times to make the phone calls. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this is the time where, if I can't throw you a dollar, but I can throw you a bone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we doing that a lot, right? I'm seeing Big Sean do that I'm seeing T Grizzly, I'm seeing Sada Baby, I'm seeing Finkel, I'm seeing them do it with the community. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a wave of community that kind of missed it. Like the big homies kind of missed it a little bit. Like your Coronas, your Super MCs, your Rinsons, but they big homies now, so they entering in different ways. Like I'm watching Rinson, he just did a whole art show with Jelly. You know what I'm saying? And that,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? It's Sunday or not Sunday, this summer. I was featured on it. I was one of the, I was a card. I was able to do it, and then from that, my daughter got to perform with me. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
good.
So it was like me and Rincon go back from time, but people don't know what he doing, but he still got his eye on the post, and because the leverage is here now, he can use his creative mind to create more avenues. So it's like, I think this is the perfect time to
The
get in and get in where you fit in. If you know what I'm saying, you've been putting in, especially if you've been paving. I've been in this game for almost 20 years. You know what I'm saying, and so doing music and been in the cultural arts community for almost 20 years from all different spectrums. This is
Yeah.
the perfect time to call in those favors and get on people's hips, because people got light and Detroit got light. So this is the time to use it.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. And I'm saying this because I had a conversation where I announced the trailer for the show. And then a couple of days later I went back and I actually deleted the trailer
Mm,
because I wanted to make sure that the platform that I am providing doesn't just highlight, hip hop's culture, but it highlights Detroit's cultural art scene, because I feel
mm,
like we're more than just one thing, right? We're
no,
so
fact.
versatile, we are innovative, we are resilient, we are, the hustler capital, but there's also this uniqueness and this originality that we carry as a city that is either loved by many, respected, by few, and some people, hey, might not rock with us. But at the end of the day, when we do come together, we really do put on for our city and we do hold our people accountable in the city. And I'm glad that you brought that up about using our people as, I don't want to say leverage, but just almost as a way to continue to build across, right? Because like when I think about the people I'm interviewing, I'm like, there are so many people I've either worked with, gone to school with, performed with, et cetera, did martial arts with. I know these people, and sometimes you don't think to work across, right? Because you've worked with so many people over the years that you're just kind of like, hey, I know this person, whatever. But I agree with you. I really think this is the time to use this opportunity to continue to work across, because you do have people that have laid the foundation for the last 20 years, and now they've made it, and they're like, hey, wait a second, yeah, I do remember such and such, and I remember when they were in the gym shooting with me, yeah, like, come
Mm,
on, let's continue
for
to
sure.
build on that. And like, I can even bring up a time where I created some event called Coffee and Trap Music. And it was just like just a random event I created. And I remember she DJ for me for free. And I appreciated that because it was just something I just wanted to do. Kevin Irwin, he's now the host for Mojo in the Morning. He's one of the co-hosts, one of the main co-hosts. And he hosts the event for free. And I'm just like, it was wild to me because again, these are people that I knew were going to do something and they were going to go somewhere in the next like 2 or 3 years or so. But because we all went to school together and we were all just kind of like, in the grind together, it was just like, hey, it's a no-brainer. Like, let's work together, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I see these people and I see them in their craft
Yeah.
and, working. And it really, for me, I'm so proud of them because I remember
Yeah.
when they were just starting out and when they were like just trying to figure out what they wanted to do or who they wanted to be.
Yeah.
And even like in the process of being well known, not just in the city, but like around the world, and still being able to remain authentic in their pursuit and
Yeah.
with their message as artists, right?
Yeah.
And even you, like, I feel like you've never wavered from who you were as a person, right? You were always the same person from the time that I've met you all the way up until now. And I can definitely appreciate that. Sometimes that is a struggle being a cultural artist here in
Yeah.
Detroit. You do have some people that remain the same all the way, up until the end. And you have some people that waver for, you know, their own reasons, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I respect that.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you a hard question. So we have
Mm.
our investors, we have people investing in the city, we
Mm.
have people really looking at what the city can bring and what, we can offer to the city as it pertains to contributing back to his ecosystem, right? With fashion, with food, with culture, with music, with visual performance arts, like all of that stuff. Say we don't have the money. Say us cultural artists, we're still trying to figure it out, but we want to, put on free events for our city, but we're like, wait a second, I don't have the money to do this.
Mm.
So I know you put on events before where you put together your own shows and stuff.
Mm.
What were some ways that you funded your shows when you were starting out?
Well, I always I've been blessed to have people believe in me, and I think like what you saying about some of the people that you work with, us working together, being in the trenches, you get people that do believe and know that you are going to do something one day, and even if they don't believe that this might be the big break, just me giving that to you, I know I can get that back from somewhere. So I got a lot of people that paid it forward to me, but I
Mm.
also pay it forward to a lot of people, right? And
Right.
so it's kind of like that ecosystem of I don't be knowing where it be coming from or where it's gonna come from. Even if I got to front it out my own pocket majority of the time, but um, I believe in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and I know the effect that I'm trying to leave on people, and I know what I'm trying to do with the event. And as long if I talk enough and I talk around in front of the right people, sure I get people that be like, yo, what you need for that? I got you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like and that's just being in the trenches. That's being in the trenches with people. I think, and that's what I mean by Detroit taking care of its own. Like it's been doing that for years. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I mean, now if you want to look for grants and things of that nature, it's more prevalent, and you probably more prevalent to get a grant or get a company that'll give you a small investment because now it's on a huger scale and people are seeing that they want stuff to do, they need stuff to do. We got people here in the city that don't do the things that we do, and so you could pack more bodies in for, you know what I'm saying. And so it's a lot more easier really now to get like outside funding. But back when I was coming up, we was in the trenches together and we was taking care of each other. So it wasn't hard to get a sheet feed, you know what I'm saying, to be like, yo, I got you. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't hard to get, a field like I designed this for you. It wasn't hard to get rinse in and throw a beat over because we was taking care of each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that comes with just being a good person, having a good heart. One thing I love about Detroit is everybody superstars here. You know what I'm saying? If you from here, born and raised here, you've inherit this superstar celebrity thing. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
like we've always been walking like celebrities. I'm talking about when I got a chance to when I meet celebrities, it's like I'm the celebrity. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yes.
you got a chance to meet me. I ain't get a chance to meet you. And that's one thing about Detroit. that I love about our city is also became one of our downfalls too, as well, when it comes
Mm,
to working together and kind of creating community together. Because everybody, we all walk like we got it, and we just know how to make things happen. That don't mean we always got it. You know what I'm saying? And I
mm,
think that's also our gift and curse, that celebrity, mentality, or act, or the just the knowing of, yo, I am him, but him needs some help. You know what I'm saying? So how
mm,
do him ask for some support? How do him ask the next man, hey, yo, where do you get that from? Not being the smartest man in the room has helped me a lot, right? Like, I'm always looking to be the dumbest person in the room. So that means I'm
mm.
always involving my circles. I'm always trying to be a part of somebody who knows something more than me. I don't mind being the little homie. I don't mind being the person that don't know. Matter of fact, throw me all those scraps, because I'm about to create a meal with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes,
And so I don't mind doing that. You know what I mean? That take a lot of humbling, and it take a lot of different. It take a perspective of that. But I'm also know when I walk in certain rooms that I am him too. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
And so being able to do both is has been my blessing, and how God has been able to continue to send me forward. Like, I know who I am. I'm comfortable in my skin, but I also don't want to be in a room where I'm the person that people got to go to. I need to be going to people. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Ooh.
that's how I've been able to create A Dot, and it's also how A Dot still able to kind of move around. You know what I'm saying, and do what I need to do.
Well, let me tell you something. In time, first things first. I have always respected your abundance of wisdom. I know we have had conversations about life, just in general, and some of the wisdom that you have imparted to me over the years has definitely carried into, me being a cultural artist here in the city of Detroit, but also just being a person and being a human. So I definitely want to give you your flowers when it comes to that.
I appreciate
Even just the statement that you made, like people being brave enough to say, like, hey, listen, I know when I walk in the room, I'm that guy, but I also know that when I walk in the room, I'm willing to be humble enough to ask the questions that I need to ask so I can get to the next level that I need to get. And sometimes I don't know if it's like that Detroit mentality where we're all conditioned into believing that, most questions are dumb questions, or you kind of got to just like figure it out on your own, because I had to figure it out on my own instead of being a person to say, I want to know something, so I'm going to ask, right? Because I'm curious and because I genuinely want to learn. And
it.
you are a student of life, right? You continue to study your craft, you continue to hone your creations and your creativity. And like I said, not only the fact you've never wavered from who you were as a person, but you do walk into a room, and as soon as you step foot on that stage, you command your audience. That's first. Second, when you step off that stage, you still command your audience with your children, you command your audience with the community. Like, you are walking in your purpose, and that is a first off a God light. And I want to tell you that, because like I said, for so many years I have worked with so many different people, and I'm like, there are so many people that I hope they know that they have really shaped who and what Detroit is, right? And to come from their humble beginnings, not having anything, whether it's an absentee father or an unstable home, or, living in a low income situation. And to be able to say, I'm going to get out of this, I'm going to figure it out, and to keep going and to keep elevating and to keep moving. I admire Detroiters, first off.
Yeah,
Second, I
yeah,
admire the grit and the grind and the passion that we all have as Detroiters.
yeah,
And I admire your vulnerability as a black man from Detroit, because as black men, you know, oftentimes it is hard to talk about feelings and emotions and being vulnerable about certain things, or even asking questions, or even just being able to articulate what it is that you need, because you're taught to just be the man of the house, and you got to figure it out. You got to hustle, and you got to bring some, bread into the house and make sure that the house is taken care of.
Yeah.
And then don't come from a single parent household, because
Yeah.
then you even have a double responsibility, not only to
Yeah.
be the man of the house, but to also carry the legacy
Yeah.
for you and for your family. So that is a strength and a heavy crown that you have to wear,
Yeah.
not only as an artist, but just as a Black man in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
So thank you. First off, thank you.
Thank God,
And
man. Listen, all glory to God. Listen,
no,
all glory to
seriously,
God.
because
All
some
glory to
days I have
God.
talked to a lot of amazing young Black men that either are from Detroit that have contributed to the cultural arts community, or moved here to Detroit and saw what we were doing and was like, I got to be a part of it, right? And I am finding this trend of, hey, I came from nothing, but I made something out of this situation.
Yeah.
With the limited resources I had, I used my creativity, but I also used my pen or my paintbrush to
Yeah.
get myself out of these negative situations, instead of doing something, besides what we're either known to do, and that's, play sports or
Yeah.
sell drugs or just do
Yeah.
something that, is not good for us per se, right? But
No.
instead, we have these men and women that are taking other avenues, that are using the community that they do have to build another community, but then to also give back to the next generation of youth, so that way they can know better, so they can do better. Because I know, especially as a millennial, there are so many things that I was not taught growing up that I had to learn and uncondition myself, especially when it comes to breaking certain generational curses,
Mm-hmm.
but also using dance and media and DJing and
Yeah.
art, and I because I was involved in a lot of stuff growing up too as
Yeah.
a kid, but using all of
Yeah.
those avenues as a means to escape my reality, at home, because my
Mhm.
reality wasn't always the best situation either. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely didn't come from a stable home, even though I had a two-parent household, but it wasn't always the best
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So knowing that, let me see. Let me pull up this next question. Let's talk about Detroit's musical heritage. So, how does this massive musical heritage that we call the Detroit sound continue to influence, inspire, or even challenge contemporary visual artists, poets, and performers working in the city today?
You saying how does it? How do how do we go about doing that?
So,
Or
Detroit's
are you asking how is it forming and influencing today?
Yes, yes. So today, not from like, actually no. Let's talk about that. So Detroit sound, whether it's Motown, techno,
Yeah.
rock and roll,
Yeah.
how has Detroit sound, because
Yeah.
obviously I feel like Detroit has several different sounds.
Yeah.
How does it continue to influence and inspire
Yeah.
other cultural artists in the
Gotcha.
city?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing we got to give praise to and privilege to is that Detroit has been majority black for a long time. And I think that what happens is we as Detroiters and a lot of people that's from Detroit don't understand. If you don't travel, you don't understand how contemporary the world is. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe Detroit sound comes from the culture of blackness here. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
our feel. It's really the soul. We call it a sound, but it's not necessarily a sound. It's a soul here that moves. It's been moving from a long time. I mean, you get people like what's my man Charlie Wilson. You know, he won't even book a band if he don't let nobody else play behind them if they're not Detroit musicians and singers. You know what I'm
Amen.
saying? And you got a lot of people that's not from Detroit that come to Detroit for those type of deals because of the soul that's here. Again, I think because we've been a predominantly a colored city or black city, it's been able to produce a certain feel, and the conversations are different, because a lot of black people don't get a chance to kick it with black people like that. We've been privileged to being raised around our kind and grew up with our kind for a very long period of time, and I think that's what we produce. That's what the music is. That's what the stories are. That's what the expression is through it all, through the dance, through the paint, through the writings, through the storytellings that we create in the movies. Like, I think that's where it comes from. Um, like I said, traveling, you get to understand that a lot of other black people in different other cities and states don't get the same experience because they are in a different environment. Like I said, it's more contemporary. So yeah, I think that's the influence, right? The influence comes from where the majority of us come from, and I think because it's a lot of us in this small sector that we able to get a lot of people to say yay and nay to things. So we able to
Mhm.
move the culture because a lot of us are here, right? And so you'll hear people from LA be like, yo, I rock with Detroiters. You hear people from New York, I rock with Detroiters. Black people from North Carolina, black people from everywhere can
Yeah.
be able to agree with Detroit because we are predominantly black. You know, even Atlanta now, Atlanta is getting that now, right? Where they're a predominantly black city. And so they can move needles now because you know, we are the culture. We are the culture when it comes to this expression. And so yeah, that's what I think. And I think Detroit won't leave or won't be able to, like, it's gonna be hard to move Detroit from that
Mm.
staple because of the privilege that we have to be around our own kind of people on a daily basis. And so we gonna always be top influencer, you know, top or the top three, top four, top five influencer because we majority, you know, our city is majority what the soul is, and we able to move the needle because we can agree, you know what I mean, and we can disagree. We here to do that, and so I think
Yeah.
that helps.
No, I agree with that. One thing you said is it's not the sound, it's the soul that carries the city and even carries the city moving forward. And me as a person who grew up, you know, downtown, midtown, east, there is a certain there's a feeling that you get when you go downtown, right? There's an energy
Mm-hmm.
that hits you when you see the Renaissance building marquee, when you see the spirit of Detroit, when you see the Joe Louis Fist, when you see those different markers, like, you know, okay, I know I'm in Detroit, right? But also when you see the Coney Island, when you see the Better Made Factory, when you see the Fago, those markers for me only signify the power that the city has, right? And that the city continues to possess a certain uniqueness, right? And we need more developments in order to move the city forward. I am all for that. My concern sometimes is that I am worried that the city will begin to lose its uniqueness if we continue to put things in place that replace the culture that we've already built.
Mm. Well, I hear you, and I think you were making a valid point. Where it can lose the uniqueness, but I think it's up to us though, right? I think it's up to us. We the big homies, you know, we the uncles, we the aunties now. And the prime example of not having, you know, access and leverage, real leverage and access, is why we really losing. Um, but I also think that we connected enough to still be able to keep, you know, the soul part. One thing I love about what Detroit is doing is that, okay, they said, all right, look, we're gonna make the money here. We're gonna take Midtown and everything that's from Midtown going towards downtown. We could commercialize that and make that a place where it can be tourism. It can be people that come in and feel safe, right? Um, and then, but we're gonna leave Detroit to Detroit, and so they gave us. We still 6 miles, 7 mile Finkel Puritan is still ours.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You still look at, you know, John R. from certain places, State Fair, Michigan. Like, if you go up some of the bigger roads, you know, Matt Gratiot, you know, going towards Van Dyke, like Werner, like it's still ours. It's still up for the taking. You know what I'm saying? And so
Mhm.
I think if we understand that perspective and not worry about what the big money doing and go back to like, okay, how do we create or continue to set our plate here, then we'll be okay because there's still a lot of buildings that need to be bought. Still a lot of
That's
land that
true.
need to be bought. Still a lot of houses that still need to be, you know what I'm saying, brought up. Still a lot of liquor licenses you can get. Like it don't just stop with one thing, right? Yeah, they got Midtown. I understood, and I understand what that means. It means more money. But while more money is here, what do we do while we, you know what I'm saying? Like we have to be the creators to say, hey, once you in Detroit, you need to step on 7 Mile of Evergreen because this is popping.
Mm.
Right?
Yep.
We got to be able to create these things. Hey, you need to come to 6 Mile and Gratiot because we got this popping. And you get people that come to cities like this looking for that. Right? Like, if we don't create and we just depend on them to do what they doing with Midtown, and then we become consumers. Because now a lot of us are consumers. We hanging out at Little Caesars arenas and going to all the big concerts where they wouldn't even throw a concert here for a minute. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? We was creating concerts. We were the concerts. I
Yes.
remember coming up, you couldn't see no Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? The most times you would go, people was going to Royal Oak Music Theater to do music. You know what I'm saying? Like the biggest thing here was M and 50 at one point. So like I'm from that time where they didn't even want to come to the city because it wasn't no quote unquote money in the city. We had to create our own currency. We still have to do that. Like we can't stop creating the currency just because somebody else came on the monopoly board and said, "Hey, give me boardwalk, give me this, and give me that."
Mm.
There's other pieces to still be bought and still be made. If we could come together as a community to say, "Okay, look, let's buy this up, let's do this, let's create our clubs up." Like Baker's never went nowhere.
No.
Baker's been here since Motown. You know what I'm saying? So like, and it's never going to go nowhere if you ask me. And people still come out of town to do clubs. You know what I'm saying? Do stuff like that. I love what Punchline has done for the comedy
The comedy
community.
community. Yeah.
Right, Punchline out. They raise their stuff up. They banging, and every weekend there's something going on. Throughout the week there's something going on. So it's up to us as the community to see opportunities and not always see what somebody else is doing.
Mm.
That's taking or feel like we're being taken. It's an overflow. Really, right now there's such an overflow. If you could create something that's sustainable, you'll get all the overflow. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't
Yes.
make a Drake concert. Everybody can't afford an NBA YoungBoy concert. Everybody can't afford that. But guess what? You still got people that spend $30, $40 and do this, and spend $20, $40 and do that. We got to create the opportunities for that. We
Yes.
still waiting because we feel like, well, I done put my 15 years in. Somebody need to come see me too. Or to put my 20 years in. Somebody need to come see me too. No, let's keep creating. We all in different financial positions. We ain't little kids, young kids, struggling 2 nickels no more. We got a couple dollars on us, hopefully. You know what I mean? And so, we got some credit scores. We got some businesses with some credit scores. So we need to be saying, hey, what can we do for the next generation? And how can we get some of that overflow, right? Because there's people out here that's coming to the city looking for the Detroit authentic experience, right?
Hmm.
We can't give it to them because we're not out. Shout out to Ken Brass. He was one of the people that was giving a Detroit
Yes.
authentic experience. You know what I'm saying? Um, but we looking for the corporate dollar as well, and that's the issue. We got to create. We got to continue to do what we was doing so we can get those overflow. Because right now the city is in overflow. You know what I'm saying? And if you got something that can be done, or you got a couple dollars, or you got some product, you got something, you can
You
catch
got something.
overflow money. You
Yeah.
catch overflow money. You know what I'm saying? And there's people that's catching overflow money and getting paid and getting rich. You know what I'm saying? And so, I think that's where it is. I'm getting overflow money. I'm catching that overflow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Good.
we got to be able to put ourselves in position to say, oh, that's what's happening. Okay, what can I do to get these? Okay, they can't pack 100 people in there. They only can pack 50 in this spot. How can I
Yeah.
get 20 in them? Oh, they can't pack. They only can pack. How can I get 30 in them? Right, and being able to just to capitalize on that side of the market.
You got me. You got me. But you know what though? I'm glad that you put it into perspective. Simply because you are right. Like it's not just about one part of the city, right? Yeah, we have our downtowns, we have our midtowns, and when you look at other cities, whether it be their majority black or whatever, there is a certain look that the downtown midtown area has to have, right? You have to
Yeah.
create some type of tourist attraction somewhere. But
Yeah.
then we still have these other communities that still need development, right? Even like I was looking into the Morningstar development that's going on right now, and I've been visiting the Morningside Cafe from time to time and just sitting and doing some work. And I love what the gentleman, the owner of Morningside Cafe, is doing over there, and how he's providing a space for people to come in to, politic, to co-work, to eat, film content, to do whatever you need to do to get the job done. And there's even a conference space in the back of the coffee shop, and he
Mm-hmm.
plays a lot of like neo soul, hip hop,
Yeah.
jazz.
Yeah.
He mixes it up, but he pretty much he has cultivated an environment that is so welcoming that I'm like, I am willing to drive 25 minutes from Madison Heights all the
Yeah.
way over there just to get my
Yeah.
experience,
Yeah.
because we need that in the city, and there are other spaces in the city that can still use development, or even our tax dollars, even if those, tax dollars aren't being invested into that area. So it's like, yeah, how do we come together as a
Yeah.
community and develop some type of funding so we can invest it back into these buildings and create these things
Yeah.
in these spaces, so that way people can come and they can experience the stuff. Because I feel like no matter what part of the city you're in or where you're from in the city, everybody deserves luxury. Everybody deserves to experience something amazing. When I was working in the school system and I was teaching very low income students, there were times where I didn't have the money, and I would still use the money out of my check to provide uniforms and shoes, for the kids and stuff. And then it got to the point where I was like, I am so moved by the kids that actually come in here and they really want to be here and they really want to dance and perform, and their parents might not be in the best financial situation. Okay, so let me sit down and let me figure this out. And I had to figure it out. And I would reach out to people and I would get donations from dance studios and dance stores, dance supply stores, from people that I have never met before, never talked to. And I would
Mm-hmm.
drive to these different locations, within Southeast Michigan, and I would get these donations. And I was able to receive an abundance of donations that I could give back to these kids. And it came from a place of love, because I genuinely wanted these kids to have this experience, to
Mm-hmm.
experience art in a way that was given to me when my mother was working two jobs to put me, in dance and stuff. And that's what I want for our community, right? I want that for everybody. I want everybody to be able to experience the arts in a way, even if you can't afford to purchase a ticket at the Fox or the Max Fisher or the Detroit Symphony Orchestra or the Fisher
Mm-hmm.
Theater.
Mm-hmm.
You should still be able to have that experience even in your city. You should be able to walk into a coffee shop that, where Starbucks, they don't put coffee shops in the hood, right? And I was even a brand manager for Starbucks at one point and couldn't understand, why are we not putting coffee shops in the hood, right? But here nor there, we got to come together. We got to figure out something. We got to figure out a way where we can continue to give back to the subdivisions in the city of Detroit, because deserves
Yeah. And
everybody
I think
deserves to
I
experience
think
these things.
everybody do deserve, and I think it's up to us to be able to create what we deserve, right? Like the reason why certain people don't do certain things is because we haven't shown that we can manage it. You know what I mean? Like you got to think about it. We had the city for 25 years. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Mayor Archer was in here. We get Kwame. Then we like the city was ours. I mean, before him we had Comey Young. Like the city was ours. What did we do with the city? You know what I'm saying? What did we do with the city truly? You know what I mean? And so it's like, and a lot of people don't like to have that conversation. We got to look on both sides. If we're gonna tell the truth, we got to tell the whole
Yeah.
truth, right? Like
Yeah.
the city was ours. It was predominantly black. It was black people running it. And what did we do with the city? And so now we got a white man, Dan Gilbert, that was in here. That's from the city. He grew the city, and he was like, "Yo, he left and got some paper, and then figured out how built the company that gets some paper." And he said, "Yo, I'm about to come back to the city that I'm from." He's from here. It ain't like he's not from here. He grew up on the east side. You know what I'm saying? He's from this city. His people is from Detroit, right? Not the Detroit that we may not know, but he's from it.
He's from
You know what
Detroit.
I'm saying? He's from it, and he said, "Yo, I got an opportunity to, to make some money and play Monopoly on it in real life. Can't get mad at that, right? So what are
Yeah.
we doing, right? And at the end of the day, I think it's up to us to be able to." see what's left on the monopoly board and how can we monopolize what we got left. And there's still a lot left. It's like the city is huge. It's a lot of opportunity here for us to be able to build, create, and can still give a authentic Detroit experience. We have a lot, you know what I'm saying? We still have a lot here, but it's up to us, right? It's up to us to create answers and not always talk about the problem.
Man, beautifully said. That was yes. Thank you. Look, thank you. I want to ask you a few more questions. Let's hop back into music real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you use music as a way to move not only yourself forward, but move the community forward.
Mm-hmm.
When was the first time you realized, wow, I can really do this and I can really make a change?
Um, let's see. Middle school. Middle school, Sherrod Middle School. Shout out to Sherrod. That's no longer here no more. Um, it was this band called the Southwest Band, I think, and they would come to the city. It was at that time that was like one of the public school things that everybody kind of went to go see. They play these big old steel drums and stuff like that. They'd go around. They'd do like a little mini presentation, and then they'd give tickets to you know the surrounding people or you know surrounding area. I know North End was a part of that. And then we all go to the opera house and watch their show.
Mm.
And so, we were rapping in school, and then the teacher was like, one of the teachers, I forget what teacher it was, it was like, yo, y'all should come up with something to do for the Southwest Band, and perform for them to kind of like welcome them in. And so we all did. Shout out to my guy Taven, Brandon. Rest in peace, my brother Jay Boogie. I think it was me, him. I think it was somebody else. Brandon played the piano. It was crazy because he from the hood, played the piano. You know what I mean? Um, so he played the piano. We all had our rap. And, shout out to my brother Tone too, Tone. And we performed in front of them. First, we performed it in front of the school. Then we performed it in front of them. And then they was like, "Yo, they loved it so much. They wanted us to open up with it for they show it in front of everybody at the Detroit Opera
Oh,
House." Yeah, so this the first time first time we rap, first time we ever doing something. And then we actually I could go before that, but I'm gonna stay here though because we did some stuff. Shout out to Uncle Al Nuke too, man. Elementary school we did Silence the Violence, and I had his part, and we had to rap his part in front of them too. So that's where it started off for me. It started off from school, DPS. Shout out to DPS schools, equipping the talent. We was able to perform in front of the Southwest Detroit, man, and we did it twice, 2 years in a row. You know what I'm saying? And I did it again like we did with Uncle Nuke. I was like in the third or fourth grade, maybe the fourth grade. Well, Uncle Nuke, and they had the Silence the Violence campaign going around when he was coming up, when he was a younger guy. And he came in, did some music, and we did the same thing, performed their song in front of them, and they loved it, gave us shirts, gave us t-shirts, gave us some stuff like that. I mean, Jack Frost, I remember Jack Frost back in the day, like up-and-coming rappers from back in the day. So it was like, this thing was always been, it's like always in front of me. Rapping has always been like my outlet to be able to speak and give my total expression to. And it became my best friend. It became, who was going to listen to me, who helped me get through some really tough times, still helping me get through some tough times, and helped me gain confidence, and help me be vulnerable, and help me, hip hop is, the spirit of hip hop, the spirit of music has been there with me for a long, long time. So, during that time, just shout out to Detroit Public Schools, and shout out to all the upper coming people that was here. They gave me the confidence to be able to say, "Yo, this is what I want to do I can do this." Now I didn't know if I was gonna do it for the rest of my life, but I definitely knew that I was gonna be able to put a lot of energy in this space, and I used that time to do that.
all right. Last question. If you can impart any wisdom on any up and coming artists that are just trying to find their way or find their groove, what would you say? What would you tell them?
I would say take advantage of the opportunities, stay true to self. I think a lot of times we get lost in the sauce of trying to do what we see and what we hear, because the world is very trendy. The world is very clout chasing. The world is very a wave, and the wave, if you can catch a wave, you can catch some money. But if you're an artist that's really about art, Stay true to the art. Stay true to you, and eventually the wave gonna have to come to you, right? You can control your own current, and I thank God that I've been able to control my own current, control my own wave. Whenever I want to ripple the waters, I get to ripple them. Whenever I want to make them still, I get to make them still because it move off me. I didn't sign no deal. Though I had deals on the table, I didn't compromise myself. Though I wanted to, though it's easy to. But I think just being true to who I am and who I am first allowed me to continue to be me. And so I can drop projects at 38 years old and still be cool. You know what I'm saying? Still be what they call
Mhm.
hip. Because I'm always me no matter what. And I think I tell any artist that, like, if you do it for your reason only, continue to be yourself, and don't, don't look at the machines as, because these are machines, right? I'm just a person. It's a machine that's doing that. It's a
Yep.
machine. Drake is a machine. Lil Wayne is a machine. You know what I'm saying? If you're a young boy, he is a machine. You don't think that these people are just dolo people. They are machines, right? And so know that you don't have to be a machine to get yours, and know that
Mhm.
making $1 million don't mean that you're successful. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Okay.
I know people that I know people that's doing this for the rest of their life, and they've been doing it in 8,000 years, and they make 60, 70, $80,000. That's a good living doing what you love to do. You know what I'm saying? If I can rap for the rest of my life and I'm bringing in $100,000 a year, to me, I'm successful. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I don't have to be a
Mhm.
millionaire to do that. I'm making more than a teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a 6-figure man doing the thing that I love to do. Whether you seen my videos or not, whether they bumping my songs every day or not, I'm creating a platform to live. I can eat, and I don't have to worry about bills. I think I'm winning, and so I think any artist should think that if you can do what you do with no compromisation, you won, and I think that's the dub of being an artist and the freedom of being an artist.
Big brother Ant, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out and for sitting down and breaking bread with me. Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on social media, official A dot. Right? You can find that everywhere. That's if you want to listen to some music. If you want to book me for some restorative stuff, or word, or speaking, or TED talks. I got a TED talk coming up soon. You can reach me at restorative life solutions llc.com. Yeah, man. So that's it. That's what we're doing. We got music, and we get into the community with this restorative talk, man. So, um, yeah. And I got some stuff. Look, I got some surprises on the way, man. I got some special performances on the way. I got some special collaboration projects on the way. That's really been just sitting in the vault. I'm never not recording. I'm always recording.
Mm,
Or people think I'm just because I'm not promoting music don't mean that I'm not. I'm always recording. I'm always with the pen. I'm always collaborating. I'm always, picking the brains of my peers, my brothers and sisters that's in the community. So there's always stuff in the making. A couple movies that's gonna be coming out soon. So I'm always working. So just keep your mind, keep your eyes open. I'm always working, even if it's just a little bit. I'm always contributing to what's happening in the community for sure.
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
For sure.
Well, this is the end of the road. Everybody, first and foremost, thank you all for listening to today's podcast episode. For more information on the Starving Artist Development podcast, you can actually visit our website at starvingartistdevelopment.com. You can shoot us an email at info@starvingartistdevelopment.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Starving Artist Development. Follow us on Instagram, Starving Artist Development. You can like us on Facebook, Starving Artist Development Joints. Don't know why I went with
Mm,
that, but it just sounded great.
I like it. I
And
like it. I like it.
and
I think it's good.
also, if you would like to make a donation to the work that we are doing, donations are greatly appreciated. This is a labor of love, and want to be able to give back to the people that are putting the city back on the map, and really just paying it forward and making sure that we continue to preserve and protect Detroit's cultural art scene. So again, everybody, thank you all so much for joining us today on the Starving Artist Development Podcast. Signing off. Peace.